Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So again, I was leading into the sockets that I have that I used to work on my truck. Now, I know some of you might say that is 100% BS that you've done all that work to your truck with just this amount of sockets. Half right ish, kinda. What I'm getting at is I'm just trying to show you what I started off with and what I have now, or I'll show you later on what I have now tool-wise that makes working on this truck 10 times easier. But we'll start off with my deep set of sockets. All I initially had when I first moved up to Colorado and I had bought my 95 250 was this set of deep sockets right here. This used to be a gator, like a gator grip socket. I had knocked the internals out and kind of used it for like a 3/4 19 and everything, like roughly about it. But this is it. This is all I had that I brought. I threw these in a tool bag, tossed them in the truck when I bought it, drove on up here to Colorado. After that, when I would need to replace something or just do small, I guess you would say, maintenance on it. I was like, I need another, I need a socket set, something I could use. Really, it was when I was doing the rear brakes on my 95. I went out and bought this socket set right here. Now, this 12 point, this socket, this other 12 point, and I think there's one more in here that doesn't belong. This is a task force. It's a task force, like 12-piece socket set that I bought at Lowe's years ago, like almost 7+ years ago. That was it. Between this shallow set of sockets and this set of deeps right here, that was all I had to work on my truck, minus a couple of these small 1/4 inches. Like, I don't think this was one. I didn't have this one. I didn't have this one. I think it was just these two and these three right here. These spline drive, didn't have them. That was it. That's all I had. I think minus this 27. I had this 27 because I needed it for the rear output shaft to a new process 435. You need a 27 to get a nut off the back. I had that. That was it. And over the years, when a new part would break, I'd go out and I'd buy the socket or the tool that I needed. Why? Because I'd rather have it than rent it and have to return it and then eventually go back and get it. Like, I'll tell you, this 1.25" right here, you use that, if you can use that for the banjo bolt, the rear banjo bolt on the fuel lift pump, and you could use that shallow socket right there with the flex head ratchet that you could buy at Harbor Freight, and you can get the banjo bolt off the back of the that fuel lift pump, and you can use this socket set right here to get the fuel lift pump out in order to replace it. This 33 you can also use on the back of the banjo, or the banjo bolt on the back of the fuel lift pump. I used to use that also as well, but that's all I had. That's it. I had bought this Torx bit set from Harbor Freight because I needed one of these to get the rear drive shaft off from the axle. That was all it. Just not recently, but shortly after that, I had a 97 Grand Cherokee that I needed to replace the radiator in, and of course, the transmission cooler lines going into the freaking radiator needed a set of these, so I didn't strip the freaking like the brass freaking collar on the dang thing. These weren't part of it. I just didn't want to take them off, but everyone starting out with their sockets, I guess they always get like the spark plug sockets, just a set of spark plug sockets that I had. These wobble sockets, they're pretty recent. When I had to replace the fuel line underneath the turbo, I needed a freaking 13 millimeter. I think it was a 13 millimeter to get one of the bolts off the exhaust flange on the up pipe. I needed just that one, and I wasn't gonna go buy just one dang wobble socket. I went to O'Reilly's and I bought this. That's the most recent. These other deep sets right here, They weren't part of anything that I had. I just, they were part of that Snap-on toolbox that I picked up. And then these spline drives. Standing at the counter at AutoZone, picked up these spline drives right here because, heck, I needed more, 1/4-inch sockets, because you can only do so much with an 8mm or a 9mm or a 10mm 1/2-inch drive socket. So I jumped up to these guys, or bought those to kind of help out. That is all. That's a Duralast socket. Bought this at I think this is also a Harbor Freight one as well. Nope, OEM Tools. Bought it at O'Reilly's. Another OEM Tools. Bought at O'Reilly's. That's it. These are all the sockets that I had, minus the ratchet. I'll pull out the ratchet. Here's the ratchet that came with this task force, and here's the extension that came with this task force. The only thing I'm not pulling out and putting in here to show you what I initially started off with was the Harbor Freight wobble extensions. Believe it or not, I still have them from almost, I want to say, 5 years or more. I still have them. The only one that's messed up on me is like the big 5-inch or 6-inch 1/4-inch drive wobble extension. This is all that I had. Again, take away these two sockets, take away these wobble sockets, and take away these deep sits right here and these 3 right here. That is it. There's all the sockets that I had, and I used to just carry around in a little husky tool bag, and I'd go to junkyards and I would tear apart trucks, and whatever I needed to replace stuff. But to give you an example, just with this right here, I'm gonna go ahead and start naming off what I've done with just this set right here. Alternators, batteries, water pump, IPR sensor, the injector pressure regulator, the IPC sensor, fuel lift pump, taking out the fuel bowl, removing the valve covers, replacing the under valve cover harnesses, resoldering all of them, minus the little freaking Cobalt, wire cutters and stuff that I had, and my soldering iron. I don't know if I said glow plugs. Transmission, dropping the transmission 3 times to replace the clutch 3 times. What else did I do? The lift kit, dropping the rear axle, rebuilding the rear leaf springs and making a bastard pack that's adding one more leaf in there. Dropping the front axle to put in the new rough country leaf springs. The shocks, adding the rear, axle, or the lift blocks. Brake jobs, replacing brake pads and all that. This is all that I had. And just to show you, this was my hammer back in the day. Back in 2011 and 2012, this was a hammer. This was to knock bolts into where they needed to go. I can't count how much I've used the head of this task force to just beat the crap out of stuff. As you can see, it is just beat to crap, and I put a lot of German torque on this thing. I'd get it nice and Guten tight. I just not recently, but after I got tired of trying to heave on that little guy, I went and bought a torque wrench, it was my breaker bar / torque wrench. But this is it. I'd have to go through and I'd have to really remember what each individual of these deep sockets go to. I know that's the fuel lift pump, or the banjo bolt on the back of the fuel lift pump. I know that one works as well. I think that's the injector pressure regulator. I think that will fit over it. I'm not 100% sure. The rear axle nut on a new process 435 transmission. I can't remember what these guys were for. It would take me a bit to remember. But that is all. This is just initially the sockets that I had. But as well, also to kind of show you, I'm going to put my the last couple deep set of sockets on this socket rail here. Again, these are Harbor Freight. You can pick these socket rails up at Harbor Freight. You get a 3-pack, and you get the 1/2-inch, 3/8, and then 1/4 drive little socket rails. But I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to pick this thing up from the end and be like, oh, well, you didn't pick it up from the end, so you should buy Freaking other socket rail. Yeah, whatever. I'm just showing you. If you leave your sockets inside your toolbox or a tool cart and it's not moving anywhere, you know, so roughly about 4 fingers worth. Not bad. That's a heavy set of sockets right there, you know, and does just fine for what I need it to do, you know, to sit inside my tool cart and hold my sockets. Perfect to go. Now if you're gonna rivet this down onto a piece of sheet metal or aluminum or diamond plate, whatever the heck you want, it's gonna do the job. But I'm gonna transfer over to those Cobalt socket trays and kind of revamp this top area right here. But I just wanted to show you guys what I had to initially work on my truck. You know, that's it. That's really all that I have. Now I'll show you what I've added to, you know, what more I've gotten. Most of these I had picked up at pawn shops just to add to my metric set, and these were all inside that Snap-on toolbox that I picked up. This right here, 3/8 3/8 drive Harbor Freight 12-point socket set. I think excuse me, I needed only like one of these to rethread or tap the where the fuel line broke on that freaking fuel line underneath the turbo. Some more sockets that came inside that Snap-on toolbox. I got tired of trying to deal with the spline drives sockets and my tiny little small set of 8, 9, and 10 millimeter half-inch drive sockets. I went and picked up the Hyper Tough socket set at Walmart. Why? I had lost my 1/4-inch flex head ratchet from Harbor Freight. I needed quarter-inch drive sockets. $12, Walmart does what I need for those tiny little sockets. Just recently picked up all these. They were inside that toolbox, that Snap-on toolbox that I had bought. Other than that, that's really all the sockets that I have. And again, sorry guys, you're just on the tripod today. Broke my gimbal, so whoever you were that was like, you really need to get a tripod. Yeah, buy me one, send me a gimbal, and you can have non-shaky videos. But that's it. Man, damn, that train is always on time to just jack with my videos. But these are my sockets. That is completely it, you know. Don't make fun of me. Don't do it. Don't do it. Got a good deal on it. Don't do it. But this is it. These are tools that I used to work on my truck. So if you guys got questions, if you have an issue with your 7.3 and you want to know what socket you may need or what tools you may need, i.e. to like replace the fuel lift pump, to get the fuel bowl out, to you know, doing a water pump, feel free to leave your questions down in the comments below or send them over to BigRedandDuck@gmail.com. I've been through it. Nobody was there to help me. I did all my research online. I guess those people helped me, but man, if I had somebody that, you know, I could just had typed up comments on YouTube and be like, hey, what type of tools do I need to replace the water pump on a 7.3, like a 96 7.3, man, I'd shoot you over what you need to make that job 10 times faster. Especially if your truck is your daily driver. I know the struggle you're probably going through, or the what would you say, the headache, or the oh crap, man, like I'm gonna have my daily driver ready for work on Monday, you know. That's really why I wanted to make this channel. Is if you're 7.3, if you're 250, your 350 is your primary means of making money, your daily driver to get to work, to take your kids to school and pick them up, and you got an issue with it, do not be afraid to throw it down in those comments below. You know, that's really why I wanted to make it. I'm big on helping people. As as you can see in some of those other videos, that's why I got the light bar up on top of the truck. I cannot pass somebody on the side of the road and not be that good Samaritan to help them out. I got a bad conscience about that, but I'm willing to do the same thing if you got an issue with your 7.3. I'm willing to help you out and show you what tools you need to to get that problem fixed, and to get your truck back up and running, before the weekend's over. Hell, if I can if I can put a lift kit on a truck in 2 weekends, the rebuilding the rear leaf springs in 1 weekend, and putting the front leaf springs that Sunday, and then doing the rear the next weekend, pretty sure I can help you get through replacing a fuel lift pump on your truck. So please, any questions, throw them down in the comments below. Send them over to BigRedandDuck or BigRedandDuck@gmail.com. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. But I'm gonna cut this short. Thomas is blowing his air horn, and it's kind of getting annoying. And I need to get to bed. Got work in the morning. We got a crazy snowstorm about to hit the southern end of Colorado here, so it's gonna be fun. Gonna be taking Big Red in the morning. But hope you guys like this video. If you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see some other stuff down below here, throw it down in the comments. I kind of already have an idea and a video for that, but let me know what you guys think. And if you like the channel, if you've seen some of the other videos and you just kind of want to see more, go ahead and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you can see when these videos come out. If I'm saying a lot and I'm kind of thinking of what I need to do, it's super late. I'm tired. I just decided to throw this one out here last minute, guys. But I appreciate everything. Hope you guys liked the video. Later.